What's up, guys? Giraffe Anatomy here, and I'm coming at you today with a video for basically a new player-friendly guide to the gods in Smite. What I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to go through the gods. Maybe I'll do like 5 at a time. We're going to go through alphabetically, and we're just going to give a new player-friendly version of how to play them. I'm not going to get too deep into stats. I'm not going to go through like their health and those sorts of things. I'm basically going to give you the tools to pick this god up if you've never played them before, give you a certain idea about how their kit works, some simplicities, maybe a trick or two on how to use it, and you should be able to pick this god up after watching this video, go into like an arena, even a conquest, and know what their abilities do and know how to play them. So I will basically do that. If you guys want build videos and those sorts of things, there are other people out there that do more in-depth guides on how to build a god specifically, what they excel at, and then we're doing a build video as well that goes through every single item tree. So that's going to be in a separate video. But for this one, it's going to be a very basic, simple guide on how to use the god, what their abilities are, and some tips and tricks on how to play them. So we'll go through a couple here. I'll probably do like 5. That'll probably be good for like the first video. So we'll go through Achilles through Amaterasu here. And then yeah, hopefully it helps you guys learn the gods, gets you guys to know them a little bit better. So we'll go into a training here. So I can show you the god in person, and we'll go through how to play them. So we'll start with Achilles first. Achilles is a physical god, so that means he has access to the physical power tree, and he has access to some physical defense items that not every class gets access to. Like I said before, we'll talk more in depth about like the items and those sorts of things in another video. But he does have access to like the shields and things like that. So the first thing you need to know about Achilles is that in the fountain, you can change his armor type. So you can either have it on or off just by left clicking, right? If you have the armor on, it gives you extra health and extra defense, some protections here. So you can see the numbers here. And as you get items and level up and things like that, these numbers go up. So actually, I will level him to 20 real quick. So as you can see now, it's 325 health, 35 protections. And when you take the armor off, he gets attack speed and movement speed. So he's a very versatile god in that aspect. You see him played in solo a lot. He can flex into like a jungle role if you need to or something like that. That's normally where you'll find him the most in most games in like conquest. So let me just level up all his abilities here, and we'll go through each of his abilities one by one, and I'll show you what they do. So without items, I'll be doing this. But basically his first ability is a shield bash. And what you do is if you're in this smaller, closer cone and you shield them, it will stun them. So it gives you an opportunity to kind of catch up, keep autoing them, and then you can shield them and stun them there. If you do the outer section of the shield bash, that won't stun them, but it'll still do damage to them. So as you can see here, no stun, still does the damage to them though. So that's his first ability, basically 1 second stun duration. Not too bad. And then he does do 70% damage to targets farther away. So you kind of want to get up close and hit him here for the full boat. Get Achilles up close, make sure that he's able to hit the god with the inner circle there. His second ability here is Radiant Glory. He basically gets heals, and he also gets physical power and protections when you use this ability. So basically what you want to do is you want to engage this while you start fighting with somebody. It does give you crowd control reduction. What that is if somebody hits you with a CC, such as like this shield, right? That's a CC when it stuns you like that. You basically get 20% off of like the time for any CCs with Radiant Glory. So really what you want to do is you basically want to pop this when you start fighting with people. If you're fighting with like the Odin stuff, and you know you're about to get into it with him, right? Pop your Radiant Glory here, hit him with the shield, and you're good to go. You kind of want to have this activated while you're fighting. His third ability is a really cool and unique ability to engage and keep the distance in fighting. In case I didn't tell you guys yet, Achilles actually has a little bit longer of an attack range than most melee characters. Him and a few other gods have this because he uses a spear. So technically you can hit him from slightly farther than normal. Some other gods need to be a little bit closer to get their auto attack damage off. Achilles can sort of keep this like distance, right? Where you're just barely hitting them with this ability. So what you want to do with the third ability is when you use it, if you hold it in, right, you'll dash forward, and then you're able to attack with your spear. And if you attack with your spear, you're able to dash again and do it again. So you want to hit them with that spear attack. So it's a dash and then a jab, and then if you hit a god with that first jab, you're able to dash and jab again. Now when you hold this in, this ability, if you do WASD, it will let you roll in certain areas. You see where the arrow is going? So you're able to roll right, left, sideways if you're holding like AD or WD or WA. I don't even know the keys. So you're able to roll depending on what direction you're choosing to walk in, right? So you're able to roll and then roll and do it again. This is great for spacing. Achilles is really good at doing this. He's able to space out and kind of like stay far enough away from his opponent to do damage, but not get damage done to him, right? So you're kind of using this in combo with your 1. So basically you like pop your 2 for the team fight, you stun them, auto. You can roll away from them so they can miss some abilities, come back in there, get back in their face, right, and be hitting them. That's kind of how you use his combos and his first 3 abilities together. Now his last ability here is an execute called Fatal Strike. What is an execute? An execute basically means if you get a god under a certain threshold of health, if you hit them with this ability, they will instantly die. Doesn't matter how tough they are, how many protections they have, whatever. They will instantly die from this. So as you can see, the execute threshold here is 30%. But every time you use it as Achilles, you take 5% more damage. So if you use it over and over again, which this execute's unique from other executes like Thanatos and stuff, and you can use it more than once. So Fatal Strike is cool in the fact that if you're in a team fight and one enemy gets low and you use Fatal Strike on him and execute him, you actually have the ability to use Fatal Strike again on another god. And maybe if they get low and you strike them again, you can use it a 3rd time. So you can actually go through the chain up to 5 times. Really great in team fights. And it's really great to get those really beefy tanks out of the fight. When you get them down to 30 health, most of the time tanks still have a lot of health and they're able to fight. But with an Achilles, you can execute them. They're out of the fight then. So yeah, it's I'll show you how the execute looks real quick here. Let me go in here. I'm just going to buy some items. Don't mind what I'm buying here. I'm just going to buy stuff to... yeah, that's good. I'm just going to buy stuff to do some damage to this bra here. And I'll show you kind of how the execute works. See? Ra's probably a really bad example, actually. Let me do Neath, because he blinds you. But you can see once they get under a certain threshold, they will get that marking on them, and that will tell you, hey, you can use the execute on them now. So it's very easy to use. Let me do reduce cooldown. I just need the instant reset cooldowns. There we go. For the ultimate. So let's try that again with Neath, just so you guys can see. So if this was a Neath, like if I was really fighting here, I would pop my 2. I'd try and stun her with this auto. Now I can go to my execute. Boom. She's dead. See how it's still blinking and you see the 6 seconds? This is the time frame that you can still use the execute in. Once this goes away, the execute then goes on cooldown. So you basically have what, like 7 or 8 seconds? I think it tells you here. 5 times. I'm not sure if it tells you the exact amount of time that you have, but you can see the timer there on the left, and that's how long you have your Achilles heal for as well, which is you're going to be taking more damage, and the more you use that, the more damage you end up taking. So let me see if I can actually get like a chain of it going. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And see, for the last one, I just did it. But you can see the Achilles heel has 3 stacks, right? So you're getting 3 stacks of that damage increase there when you do that. So just be careful when you're executing a bunch of people in a row if you get to that point. But yeah, this is the basics of Achilles. Just some simple items if you guys do want a little bit of like how to build him and stuff. Some cooldown is good. I basically just put 20% here really quick to show you guys what's going on. But you're going to build him a mix most of the time. You're going to do a mix of like some physical items, like a gladiator shield works really well on him because he is ability based a lot of the times. Even a berserker shields work because you're able to poke consistently with his autos and things like that. So these shield trees, these physical shield trees are very good. It gives you a mix of power and protection. Things like Shoguns or Genji's works well on him. Building cooldown on him to get his abilities rolling is really nice. And then you can't go wrong with like a Jotuns or something. Soul Eater's also okay. It depends. Like some people like it, some people don't. Soul Eater you can build on him because it will give you lifesteal for every time you're hitting him with the shield. When you're rolling with your 3 and you're poking and you roll and poke again, that's all healing that you'll get back from like a Soul Eater and things like that. So build him a mix, make him like half tanky and maybe throw in like a Jotuns or like a Heart Seeker here and there, and you'll do really well. If you're playing him more of as an assassin, it'll probably be a build that looks somewhat like this. You might swap out like Crusher and Stone Cutting for some other things, some other items depending on the game and stuff like that. But yeah, that is Achilles. So now I'm going to return to the lobby, and we are going to go into the next god, which is Agni. Actually, that was 11 minutes, so it's good enough for one video. It's a quick, it's a quick Achilles video. You know what? I will do 2 or 3 real quick. It might not be 5 like I thought it was, but we will go into Agni real quick, just so I could show you how to do how to play Agni as well. I'll just play the default skins for you guys, just so you don't get confused with like abilities and like the way they look and things like that. So Agni is a mage. That means he's basically a very squishy, high damage character, kind of like a glass cannon. It's normally how you're going to build most mages. With Agni, I'm going to set my level to 20 again. We'll go over his passive first, and then we'll get into his items and stuff like that. So Agni's passive basically is when you hit an enemy with a basic attack, you get 1 stack of combustion, and then hitting an enemy god provides 2. At 4 stacks, Agni's next flame wave or rainfire will ignite all enemies hit, dealing damage every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. So basically what that is this is his passive. This down here is his ultimate stacking. We'll get into that in a second, but this is his passive, right? So if you hit a minion, you're only going to get 1 stack of this. So if we go into here, you'll have to hit 4 minions. 1, 2, 3, 4 until this is totally lit up. When this is lit up, your second ability, Flame Wave, or your ultimate, Rain Fire, will do extra damage. So if you do that, see the little extra ticks, all these little 4s here? That's the extra damage from Agni's passive. If we didn't have that passive stacked first, and we just did it, I don't know how. Yeah, there we go. If we didn't have that passive stacked first and we just did Flame Wave, see how there's no little 4s ticking constantly? Because you don't have his passive stacked. So let's go back over to the Own Gods. By the way, you can see on Agni's head here, you can see his ultimate stacked as well. So 3. Like I said, we'll get into that in a second. So first of all, his passive, if you hit an enemy god twice, his passive stacks, so it stacks faster on an enemy god. Agni's first ability is called Noxious Fumes. Basically, it's a circle ability. If you put people in it, the duration of the fumes is 10 seconds, so it'll sit here for 10 seconds. If somebody's in there for 10 seconds, it will do damage to them. See how he's ticking 31, 31, 31? That's the consistent damage over the 10 seconds. Now, all of Agni's abilities basically can ignite this first ability. The ignite does this explosion damage. You see the 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, depending on what level you are. This is explosion damage. So let's go into his second ability, Flame Wave. Agni summons a wave of fire in front of him that scorches all enemies in his path. It ignites noxious fumes, right? It does damage by itself. If you just do Flame Waves, 179 plus the ticking because we had our passive stacked, right? Now, if you do noxious fumes first and then you do the Flame Wave on top of it, you're able to ignite the Flame Wave and do even more damage. So you got that extra 62 plus the 170 from the original Flame Wave. So you're doing extra damage on top of it. Now, you can either do a 1-2 combo, which you'd put the 1 down first. A lot of people do this, and then they do the 2, right, to ignite it. Technically, you can do a 2-1 if you're fast enough. If you're fast enough, you can throw the 2 out and mash the 1, and then get the same effect. So if you do this, you can get it off quick enough. So some people do that, so they'll do the ignite first and then throw the noxious fumes on it. A lot of people don't know that you can do that right off the bat, but you can. So once again, let's do that. See, I did the 2 first, then the 1. But if you're starting out, try the 1 first, then the 2. But that's a quick burst combo. Now his 3 is a dash. So he basically dashes in a line. If you get gods caught in this line, it will do damage over time to them. You see those damage numbers ticking up. So you're able to, like when you're running away from people, it's really great because they're chasing behind you. They will take damage as they follow behind you. So it's a good tool to do that, or cut somebody off. If you're like coming across a tower and you kind of like do this and then come back, like they're going to have to walk through that to like get to you guys or whatever, unless they have like a leap ability. So that's a way to utilize it. Once again, you can use this to ignite noxious fumes, which is the 1. So if we put this down and we run through it, that ignites. Also really great if someone's chasing you. You can basically put your 1 down and dash through it as somebody's right behind you. If there's a melee god like a jungle right behind you attacking you consistently, Agni's really good to escape that. And remember, if you hit somebody with the noxious fumes, you will get the stun duration if you ignite it. So while they're in here, if someone's attacking you, you can sit in your 1 and then dash out when somebody jumps on you, and you'll stun them. So it's a really great tactic as Agni. It makes him really, really safe. If you think you're about to get dove, let me get some mana back. If you think you're about to get dove, and you can see like the enemy jungle coming, you can put this here. It lasts for 10 seconds. So sit here, you're counting, right? And then it's like, up here he comes. He just dove me. Run away. If they jumped in that circle, you ran out. It ignites it, it stuns them there, and it gets you out, and they're stuck there for a second, right? Agni's ultimate ability here is Rain of Fire. So every 18 seconds, Agni gains a flaming halo that can be expended to summon a giant meteor, right? You can only summon 1 every 0.8 seconds, so you can only mash so hard on his ultimate. But basically, that's what these 3 rings above his head is. That's what this is over here that's stacked. Basically, all you do is you press your ultimate, and that's what it is. Basically, and you can do 3 in a row pretty fast, right? So if you have a teammate that's locking them in with CC, if you are able to stun them with your 1 and your 2 or something like that, then you can ult right away and you can just do damage on that stationary target. It works over walls and stuff like that, so if I want to do it over here, I can, right? So it's an easy way. Like, Agni is a great artillery mage because of this. He's very safe. You can hang out in the back lines and still do a ton of damage. So your team's fighting over here. Look at the type of spacing Agni can get. You can put this here, do that. That ignites his 1 too. So you're able to like still be in the fight and still be really safe. This is like a really great distance to be away, right? So just like a little bit of a combo, I already showed you like the 2-1, 1-2 combo, the 1-3 combo. Like everything combos into his 1, but you can do something like you can do this, ignite them, and they're stunned, and then do an ultimate on top of it as well. So that type of combo will enable you to basically use your 2 for damage, your 1 for the damage and the stun, and while they're stunned, you throw your ult over it on top. So like a 2-1-3 ultimate is a very quick combo that you can do with Agni. So once again, you can do 1-2 ult as well. If you're not very good at throwing the 2 and hitting the 1 right away, you can do 1, You can do 2 while they're stunned, then hit your ult, right? It's really hard for people to get out of that. They're stunned for a long enough duration for you to normally get your ult off without them jumping out and stuff like that too. So yeah, that's the basics on Agni. Just a quick build, some information on that too. Agni is really good with cooldown and power and penetration, right? So you're going to build some sort of combo with that. You can either go Sands of Time or you can go Conduit Gem are probably the two most common ones you're going to do for any sort of mid. Conduit Gem's actually really good with him because you can get those stacks and then use your abilities to get that extra damage for him. Obviously, Divine Root, if there's healing. Spear of Desolation is good for like a cooldown and like some flat pen as well. But you're normally going to get something like Rod of Tahuti at some point, and then you're probably going to get, depending on the gods, a Soul Reaver or like an Obsidian Shard. Obsidian Shard is really well on Agni. Basically, your first ability cast gains 10% extra magical penetration. There's sometimes in a team fight where you're just hanging out and you know someone's about to die real quick and you're just like, oh, ult him. And you just hit him with an ult. Like, Obsidian Shard will apply to that first ability cast thing. You'll do a ton of extra pen on anybody if you're just throwing like an ult out randomly. And look, you're already like regenerating that ultimate ability. So it's a really, really great. Agni's just one of those gods that's like super safe to play, really good artillery mage. And yeah, you could do a lot of damage with him. So yeah, so I'm gonna stop this video here. I just did 2 gods. I thought I'd get through 5. I thought it'd be faster, but when you go into depth about these guys, it takes a little bit longer sometimes. So this was Achilles and Agni. I will make other videos, and maybe I'll do 2 gods each video, make them about like 15 to 20 minutes long each. Get in depth with sort of how to use their kit, but at a base level, right? We're not going into anything crazy like stats and stuff like that. We're just like, how do I use them? If I took them into an arena, if I took them into a joust, slash, or even a conquest match, what do I need to do to start utilizing this effectively, right? So yeah, that's about it for the first 2, and I will see y'all later.